Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU the Mighty Mix Spammer, back after quite a long period of inactivity, having a look at a new game called Endless Space, as you probably can guess. This is an alpha version. It has recently been released to public. You can already, if you pre-purchase the game, you can already play the alpha, and this is exactly what I'm doing right now. So a couple of words before we start. Unfortunately, I just forgot what I wanted to say, so I guess it doesn't matter. I never really did this kind of a video when I take a look at some kind of new game and tell what I think about it, etc, etc. So this is kind of a new thing for me, so bear that with mind. OMG, what's wrong with my English today? I don't know, I don't really care. So, as yet again, I will remind you, this is an alpha pre-release. OMG, what is wrong with my tongue today? Is it on vacation or something? I don't know. Anyway, oh, I just love this giant blue ball behind this planet, aka a blue star. Well, okay, whatever. I think I'm going too far into mindless gabbling and I should actually start talking about something reasonable. So, Endless Space is a turn-based strategy game made by an indie developer company called something. I'm sorry, I forgot their name. Well, I guess I'll put them in the description because, yeah, I'm not going to pause the video and check it right now because I'm lazy like that. I'm going to try and record the entire single game that I can to show you as much of this game as possible. I only played as much as it was necessary for me to read all the tutorials there are, except for the combat. I never even got to the combat, but I do know the overall style of the game. I know what to expect and I know some basic stuff. So here we are. Well, because this is an alpha version, you think number one, you cannot play in multiplayer. Think number two, there are only 5 factions available out of 8 which are supposed to be on release. So there's a lot of things to talk about, how the entire galaxy that you are going to play in is randomly generated and all these different settings that you can customize, etc, etc. So first of all, I'll choose the shape of my galaxy because I can do so, and I'll choose, I have no idea, this galaxies colliding and merging. Oh, I love this one, I absolutely love this one. I kinda am into astrology thingy. I mean, not really, it's not a hobby or anything, but I do know a couple of things about it. Very little, to be honest, but enough to keep me interested, and I do love this shape of galaxy. Size small, this is for video cast purposes, and PS4 this is enough. Age is normal, this is cool. Let's see some advanced options. Music in the background reminds me of Hegemony. This was my first, you know, space type game and I really loved it. So anyway, galaxy density medium. Let's just leave everything on default settings, huh? Because, yeah, I don't know. Wormholes average, number of constellations, few, blah 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 blah. Yeah, let's just leave everything on normal because I'm as new to the game as you probably are. Difficulty, I'm going to go with easy because I have no idea what I'm going to do in here. Against speed normal, it sounds about right. Many different types of victory conditions, this is very cool. Galaxy generation seed, this is even cooler. But I'm not going to do anything in here, just leaving everything on the default. Color, of course, is going to be green because I'm cool as like that. I always place green. Oh boy, I'm so pathetic today. Anyway. So there are 5 races available right now. The first one is United Empire, which is more or less a human-like race. They are basically us in the future, and it turns out that we are pretty... Actually, a swear word would fit the situation the most, but I never swear, especially in videocasts, so no, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, these guys are kinda... the kind of guys I would like to kill rather than build them. So I'm definitely not playing as United Empire. Sophons are, well, if you play diplomacy, if you play Civilization 5, then Sophons are kinda like Korea, because obviously I always played as Korea in Civilization 5. I never ever played as any different faction. That's how much I love Korea. Yeah, but Sophons, it looks like they kinda are similar in that fashion because they are very much focused on technology advancement. And yeah, that's all I want to say. Sure, they kinda remind me of Japan. I mean, I never played Japan in Civilization 5, but I did kill them, conquer them quite a few times. So it seems like they're kinda similar. And then we have this faction. I do have something to say about the Cravers, or whatever they're called, because there's something interesting about this faction, and something that I'm a little bit afraid of. This faction is not only focused strongly on military, which isn't anything like extraordinary strange, but there's something very, very interesting. They can never be at peace or with other species, or they can never be allied with other species. That's a very interesting thing. Is that a good thing? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not sure if this is not going to make the gameplay as this race, or against this race, a little bit shallow, because you always know that you are going to end up fighting with them, or if you're playing as this race against them, and my mouse just turned off. What happened? Excuse me, mouse. Maybe I should... hang on a minute, I'm going to plug it again. Okay, there we go, that was strange. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, as I said, I'm not sure how this is going to affect the gameplay. I'm definitely intrigued to see how it is going to go in the multiplayer once it is available, but I'm afraid that everybody will simply focus their attention on this player because everybody knows that they are sooner or later going to go on guns blazing, and this is definitely something to be considered when engaging in any sort of diplomatic relationships, whatever, with this empire. And the last one is pretty much, well, let's just imagine, well, it's an empire created solely by an egomaniac, trillionary kind of human who I already hate because he's a human and he's rich, so we have a reason to hate him. Not really, I do like quite a few rich people. But anyway, yeah, I don't like this empire. Besides, it looks kinda creepy, doesn't it? It's heavily focused on cloning and such as. But you probably right now have no idea what I'm talking about and what this game is all about, so I'm going to try and start playing it as soon as possible. I'm going to play as Sophons just simply because they remind me of Korea, and Korea is awesome, obviously. So I am the leader. I'm going to fight against United Empire, but I wanted them to have the different color. Can I do that? Nope, unfortunately I cannot. Maybe if I were to change my color to their color, and then no, it simply stops those two. Oh well, I have to bear with it. We will have a similar color for the time being. Who am I going to play against? Obviously United Empire because I want to kill them. Not those guys. Hishio. Okay, no wait. Horizon, whatever. So I'm going to try and kill all the humans, and also I'm going to put in the Japanese kind of guys because they're cool looking and overall cool, I think. Okay, so let's start the game and try to show you what this game is all about while we're looking at this loading screen. So as I said, it's a turn-based strategy game, and your goal is, actually I have no idea what your goal is. I assume that it is a little bit like in Civilization, where you have multiple victory conditions, as we've seen, and you simply need to achieve one of them to win the game. Although it looks like a very promising and interesting game, but we're going to see about that. So immediately I get a couple of notifications. Those are about Hero being available. From what I can probably tell is, yeah, I have no money to hire anybody, so I'm not going to even bother looking at those messages. So right now what you see is the galaxy that was generated by this game. Something very odd, by the way. You cannot move the map by moving the cursor to the edge of it. You cannot do this only by holding the left mouse button. A little bit confusing. I guess it will simply, take some getting used to. But, well, it would be nice if they could implement this feature so it's kinda like every other strategy game, but it's not a big deal. So what you see right now is my starting location. This is my home system called Jundor. Okay, and as you can see, it's a system with 2 stars, being in a close proximity to each other. I'm sorry, I have no idea how to code this kind of system in English. I'm not that good with English or astronomy to add to that. But anyway, let's just try and show you all the options available at the start, and there's many of them. Keep in mind, I have turned off tutorial because I already read through it, but if you are new to this game, it would pretty much explain everything you need to know about it. It's a very nifty tutorial, lots of reading, but it should tell you everything you need to know. So, the first thing is my Empire screen. This is simply, you know, Empire management screen. Everything I need to know about my Empire is listed over here. I can set the overall tax rate. I can see how my Empire is doing in terms of production of various resources, and I can browse through my, you know, conquered or simply populated systems and stuff like that. This is pretty much a summary screen for your faction. Very nifty thingy, very handy. And the first thing I'm going to do is probably increase the tax rate. This actually is very nicely done. It's, well, it works. Let's just put it this way. I'm not going to go too deeply into it. But if I were to decrease it, the approval would go up, and with severely decreased tax rate, I would get some very, very nice bonuses at the cost of having no money whatsoever. And of course, going the other way around will just overthrow me from my throne. So right now, I'm going to keep my tax rate at normal. If I were to play as a more merchant kind of civilization, I would probably try, and right from the start, I would go to probably something like 50%, maybe 45%, but since my civilization is focused heavily on the technological advancement, I'm not going to do anything with tax rate. I just want my people to be, you know, content, as it says right here. So there are four types of resources that are available in my empire, and I'm going to exit the screen just so that the music can play again. Thank you very much. This is Alpha thingy. I'm sure that soon enough we will have continuous music. Anyway, there's food. I assume that it simply works like you have to get it on the plus, and if it is negative, then something bad is going to happen. Probably people are going to die. I don't know. I never played this game before except for reading the tutorials, but this is, you know, something that's pretty much a common sense. Then we have a production or industry style. Industry, what's it called? Well, generally it's an industry tab, and it summarizes the production capabilities of your empire or your system or anything, and the higher the number is, the faster you build stuff. It's as simple as that. Then we have the science thingy. Similar with the industry, the higher science is, the faster you research new technologies. And the final thing is dust, which, as somebody on YouTube has guessed, and I think this is a right assumption, is a reference to spice from Dune. Right now, my respect for the creators of this game is already gaining 10 points simply because of this reference. I love Dune. I started my experience with video games with Dune 2 as well, and I started playing it when I was 2 years old, so I really love everything that has any sort of reference to Dune, even if this reference is simply called dust. So, I guess this is it for this screen. We can exit any screen by right-clicking. Some very interesting decisions about using your mouse. I mean, moving the area, the map around with left mouse, exiting screens with right mouse, stuff like that is interesting, to say the least. Then you have this ginormous, impressive technology tree. I really enjoy it. There are 4 main routes that you can go to. The first one is the military route. You go through here, you're a badass, you want to kill everything. Simple as that. Or you want to survive, maybe this as well, but you generally know the drill, you just want to destroy stuff. Nice thing if you like explosions. The next stuff is the research that is related to applied sciences. Well, generally speaking, it's lots of cool stuff that is supposed to make the living better, and well, generally it's said that this tech tree is focusing on unlocking new strategic resources, stuff like that. Generally something that I'm going to probably focus on as this race, because I already started with 3 technology types being unlocked. The first one being isolation shields, which probably do something amazing. The other is being path scale accelerators, which probably do something even cooler. And the last one being neuro robotics, which is probably something incredibly awesome. I'm going to try and not read through all of this too intensively so that you're not bored to death. But I'm really tempted, because usually I tend to sit on a game like this for hours simply reading all there is to read. But I'm going to try and resist this. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. The other tree is called Exploration and Expansion. Basically, if you want to have a big empire, colonize new planets and such as, then you want to invest in this one, and this is probably what I'm going to focus on in the beginning, because if you want to colonize new worlds, you're going to need a lot of this technology. I wanted to say technology, I wonder what that means. And the last one is Diplomacy and Trading Technology tree. Pretty self-explanatory if you want to engage in diplomacy relationships with other races, then that's what you should invest in, because it's probably going to give you some kind of bonuses, or such as. Right now, I'm not going to choose my tech research just yet, because I want to see if I can explore a new system and see if I can already choose what planet type I want to colonize in the future. But I'll talk about that in a moment. The next panel is my military review. It simply lists all the fleets that are here to see. Right now I only control two kinds of fleets. The first one is Alpha Fleet, which has an investigator. It's simply a scouting ship, a very advanced one from what I can tell. The second one, the Repeater, is Procreator. I guess it's a colony ship. I mean, that's what I assume. And right now I have three available ship designs: Investigator, Protector, and Procreator. Protector is a fighting ship, as you probably might guess. However, I'm not only able to rename fleets, ships, and stuff like that, I'm also able to design. So there's this Protector thingy. There's a lot of options to go through, but I'll try to explain them to you by creating a new ship. So I want to design my own defensive kind of ship, so I'm going to go for a corvette ship class. There are two ship classes available for me. The first one is transport, the second one is corvette. Corvette is generally more like for military uses, while the transport is for civilian uses, pretty self-explanatory. And yeah, what I need to focus on is deciding what I want this craft to be. So first of all, I'm going to name it, and I'm going to call it, let's say, Apple Pie Pawner, because I cannot fit all this. Okay, so I'm going to call it Apple Pie, because it's going to be a giant apple pie. Actually, it's not. But let's say that the captains of the ship have to have an apple pie with them at all times. I'm a strange person. Anyway, by designing this ship, you have to keep your eye on the tonnage. This is a bar that shows the limit of weight that you can apply to a certain ship. You cannot exceed the maximum, but you can go anywhere in between. So, for example, I do not really have to fill in the tonnage to its fullest. I can only load the ship with half of it and the whole capabilities, and it will generally be simply cheaper, faster to produce, but also probably worse than ships that have more tonnage involved. So since this is a fighting ship, I definitely want it to have some kind of weapon modules. This is a hard kinesis module. It basically is a PoE thingy. Next thing is defensive modules. So I'm going to install the layered house. It deflects the PoE thingy. And the last one is support modules. And it affects, I have no idea what the power module does. Well, let's read it. It apparently increases my damage output, but it also decreases my health. Let's get that. And the last one being simply armor, giving more health to my ships. So the original ship design for the defender class type ship is maximizing the hard kinesis and layered house. I'm going to go for something a little bit different. I am going to put in a lot of hard kinesis, let's say 7, so I have quite a serious firepower right now, and everything else I'm going to put into armor as much as I possibly can. And actually, when I ran a test to see the recording, this gave me much more health points, but I was playing as a different emperor. So this emperor I'm playing as apparently has some very weak battling type of crafts. I seriously cannot speak English. I have been not recording videos for like, I don't know, a month, 2, and I already forgot English. That's pathetic. But anyway, I think I'm going to resign from high energy couplings. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to have them just for kicks, so that when somebody visits my ship, I can say, hey, look at those, those are high energy couplings. I have them on my pimp ride. What you gonna do about that? There's also the auto upgrade button. If you do not feel the tonnage to its fullest, but you want the computer to do it for you, you can click that and the computer will decide the best solution according to it, to the AI that is. Alright, it seems like a decent defender type ship. I'm going to create it, and there it is, an apple pie. As you can see, the protector is simply focusing on deflecting kinetic. I don't care about protector, let's remove it. Yeah, now we have apple pies instead of protectors. It sounds much better. If I so desire, I can always modify it, but I'm not going to do so just right now, just yet. So, the next one is the diplomacy window. Right now, I have not met any other race, like, there's not much for me to see. Apparently, I play as a lesbian triangle combo race. I don't know, when I see a race with big eyes hugging each other in this kind of manner when on the diplomacy screen, for some reason I think there's a sexual fetish involving this whole affair. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a pervert. Actually, I would love to rule a lesbian empire. Yeah, this would be awesome. Anyway, I think I'm digressing a little bit too far. I already start with a very high score, higher than other nations for whatever reason. I don't know what affects the score, but I'm not going to care about this. And this is Feeble Warriors trait that makes me less defensive on a system. I thought this is why my ships are weaker, but no, that's not exactly it. Anyway, not much to see on the diplomacy status just yet, for obvious reasons. And the last one is the hero status or academy, heroes windows, I wanted to say. And here I can hire heroes that are in charge of my systems, fleets, or whatever. They have some very sophisticated technology in the game. You can basically you can customize them as any RPG character, but for now I'm not going to do any of those because simply I cannot afford any of them. Something rather interesting is that every nation starts with 0 money. Somebody on the forums pointed out that this is rather strange because if we are able to go into the space, we probably have some kind of starting funding, but apparently not. What is this screen? Oh, diplomacy, okay. And the last screen is obviously options, nothing to see here. Whew, I'm already tired from talking. I guess I will have to have some breaks during this playthrough, but maybe I will manage to not do this. So, let's move on into the system view. Right here, this is the system I start in. As you can see, there are only 2 planets in it, but I'm very lucky because I already start with a colonizable planet right next to me. Actually, I'm curious how you colonize planets. Can I just... Oh, I can colonize Django. I simply click this and I get production cost. I'm curious, should I colonize it right away or not? Decisions. I could I think I could either colonize it or wait a minute. Survey requires technology, adaptive colonies. Oh, whatever. I thought it has some kind of anomaly. It does not. I'll explain what anomalies are in the future. So right now I can. Each planet has a single exploitation trait or whatever. I have to choose one out of the 4, and each one gives me an additional output of one of the 4 resources: food, industry, science, of dust. Right now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this because first of all, I want to colonize a new planet just because I'm collected. So I started colonization in project. As you can see, it will finish in 10 turns. I assume that this is when the planet will be officially colonized. This is very nice. If there is a colonizable planet in your system, then you do not have to do anything. It is going to be colonized simply by using this options I just used. You do not need colonization ships. They are only used for expanding to other systems. Now, can I right away go into another barrier collider trade? Well, it's cool name. No, I cannot, but I can queue it up, and that's probably what I'm going to do because as a race focusing on technology, I want to focus on technology. Apple pie is filled with apples. Whatever. And the leader is a place when I can choose a hero to control my system. Obviously I have no hero, so I'm not going to do anything with this. Trade route, I do not have diplomatic relationships with any nation, so it's blank, obviously. No strategic or luxury resources yet. They basically work just like resources in Civilization. Strategic are important for building cool stuff, like while luxury give you cool bonuses. Yeah, I'm really good at explaining things. I don't know. Am I not? Whatever. So, having done that, I'm going to explore Brave New Worlds. Brave New Worlds. So one is a white sun and the other is a white sun. Not much of a difference between the two, but I want to go to the one that is closer to me first. So I'm going to send my scouting ship, and this is something I want to point out. I don't know why the ship doesn't have a range indicator. I mean, I don't know if it will be able to go to the system in a single turn or not. This is something I believe should be implemented. It would really make my life easier, because right now I just have to guess if it will make to this new system in a single turn. Let's try it. Make it, make it, make it, make it. It did! Very nice, and oh wow, there are 3 colonizable worlds already. I guess I'm very lucky, because the playthroughs I've seen on YouTube so far, nobody was able to find any colonizable planet whatsoever. But I guess I'm super lucky like that. I already have, let's see, Jungle Planet, and Terran Planet. Well, let's see what are the traits of each of them. Jungle Planet focuses on production and food. Okay, while Terran is focusing on food and money. I think I'm going to go for Terran, but then again, let's see, what is this? Low gravity. It increases the production even further, and approval. This is very nice, and adds an additional slot that can be filled by population. This is a very nice thingy, because the more population, the better. Obviously. And oh, hang on a second, that was a misclick. Now this planet, however, has meteor strikes, which means that it has less approval and less... Oh, let's research. Okay, so I'm definitely not colonizing this. I want to have as much research as possible, but... So I should colonize this thing, but there's also one more thing. If I colonize this planet, in the future I'll have Mercurite, which gives me additional dust and research, but since I cannot do this right now, I guess I'm simply going to colonize this planet. So let's exit the screen and send a colonization ship right away. Will it make it in this turn? No, it will not, but it's close enough. Now, if you wondered what those dots are, blue dots are colonized planets, white dots are planets to be colonized that you can colonize right away, and red dots are planets that you need technology to colonize. Let's see what technology am I lacking. Actually, you know what? Since I can colonize so many planets right from the start, I'm not going to invest in a colonization technology because it's useless to me right now. Instead, I'm probably going to... hold on, I don't want this. No! How do I cancel it? Does one cancel it? Not like this. Okay, I probably skipped this in the tutorial, I guess. Queued research. I don't want this research to be queued. How do I cancel research? Actually, it probably doesn't make any sense to cancel research. I simply have to choose a different one. Yeah, right. I mean, why would you cancel research when you should simply research something, right? Right? Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Oh, and one more interesting thinking. If I were to, for example, try and discover neural robotics, I wouldn't need to get both of those technologies. I simply need to get one that is connected to it. So that's kind of interesting thing. So let's see what I have available. I'm not going for diplomacy trade because I haven't met anyone yet, but then again, let's see, more food and less improvement cost. This is nice, and there's even more food. I have tempted to do that. This one is, let's see, I have none of those luxury resources available for expansion, so I'm not going to unlock those. And this is more money on Arid Thunder, Ocean Terran, Jungle, and less cost on the improvement. This is actually very interesting as well. Wow, everything is very interesting. But I'm definitely not going to invest in because, from what I can tell, the beginning of the game is quite slow and I do not have to worry about fighting just yet. I hope. Otherwise this is going to be a very short let's play. Now let's see over here. what I have in this area. This is a different tooltip. Oh well, so barocentric the magnetic field. Oh, it's a new card I can play while in combat. I'll explain this when we are in combat. Oh, after I exit the screen, okay. But anyway, magnetic field. Better deflection, efficiency, and less beam damage. Nah, didn't really like it. Let's see this one. This gives me more. Oh wow, this is a nice one. So if I research this nanobaroic particles, or whatever I'm supposed to pronounce them, I get extra science on every system I control, and I have to spend less money on improvements. This seems like a very nice thing to have. And I also get some more luxury resources. I don't care about those because I have neither of them yet. So let's see this. What does quantum damped circuits? More what's it called? Weight capacity, let's call it, on ships. Don't care about that. And hexaferrum. Oh, that's a strategic resource. I don't need it right now, I think, so I'm not going to go for it. Next one is high energy magnetics. Antimatter. Oh, I love antimatter just because, I mean, it's antimatter. But no, I'm not going to go for it. And interplanetary transport network. Bonus on lava asteroids. No, not gonna go for that. This one is basically more production and less cost on improvement. No, I don't need any of the colonization fingers, so I think I'm going to go for this extra not resource, but what's it called? Well, you know what I mean. Extra science improvements and less cost on improvements. Sounds about it. Alright, it will take 49 tens. Holy piece of cake. Maybe I should think this one through. This upgrade, it will take only 3 turns, and it is also very cool, so I'm going to go for this one. I kinda missed the turn thingy. Wow, 49, I'm definitely not going to wait this up. So, we queued up our research project already. Having done that, I can show you the battle features. I mean, I am obviously not at battle with anybody, but I can show you the overall idea behind the battle options. So, once in battle, you didn't control your units as you do in most strategy games, but you can influence the battle by playing those cards. So those cards represent the orders that you give to your units. So I can, for example, tell my ships to overclock their weapons, which means that I do more kinetic damage, but I am worse at intercepting enemy missiles. So each card has its specific traits and is countering other types of cards. Interesting system. I'm curious to see how it works out. As you can see, none of this costs anything in dust. I assume this is because some better cards in the future are going to have a cost, so each one you use them, you actually have to pay for them, but they probably have some kind of cool effect to them. Usually, most races have only 3 cards. I can see I also have the 4th one, but I'm not going to focus on this because long time before I can fight. Now, my scouting ship, because it is a very advanced ship, it still has movement left, so I'm going to try to move into this yellow sun. And I'm halfway there. I think that is important to know, once you are on this, I guess we could call them space routes, you cannot turn back. I assume this is a representative of your ship being in warp or something like that, and once in warp you cannot exit until you reach your destination. Interesting thing that you have to bear in mind. I just point this out because I've seen somebody on YouTube not having no idea why this is there and being very angry about it, and why I did like the person's video. I disagree with this guy strongly because I think this is simply an original feature that could be very interesting to see. Alright, so I've done everything there is to do in my turn. I can end this right now. We're in year 3000 as it looks like. And after any progress, please wait. So I'll sing some cool music. Okay, I cannot sing. Right, so nothing happened this turn. Right now I have 5. What's it called? Oh yeah, dust, not spice, dust. Excuse me, this is 6. But it says 5 on the top, and this says 6. Whatever. Apparently I have 6 and 5. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So first thing I'm going to see what this new cluster has to offer. Another colonizable planet. Whoa, I'm really lucky. Other than that, I can see some desert, arid, and Arctic planets, and a huge gas hydrogen. Anything interesting? Virtual artifacts. Oh, hey there, little thingy. Oh, this is just funny. I wondered if I could make a screenshot of this with my cell phone and post it somewhere to get like some kind of bonus. Oh well. Let's exit it and go right away to another system. I want to see as many things discovered as soon as possible, just so I know where I can expect enemy attacks coming from in the future. Did I use? Yeah, I used all my movement, so I'm not even going to bother queuing it up in the future. But my colonization ship has reached the new system and I'm going to colonize right away. As I said before, I'm going to colonize Lamp Jungle because of its low gravity trait and all the other cool stuff. Basically, it's going to focus on research from what I can tell, and this is something I really care about. Actually, it gives me more research, but I cannot colonize that, so yeah. Great things have small beginnings, and I can see the tooltip has looked up. This is nothing to be worried about. This is alpha. We are not even in the beta stage. A lot of bugs is to be expected, and this is the first one I've seen so far, which means this game is probably less buggy than Heroes of Might and Magic 6. Sigh, this is really sad, isn't it? Anyway, alright. Haggard and shoe, but full of hope. The first coins of your faction have set foot on another planet. It may seem trivial, but even the most epic adventurers begin with a single step. OMG, so excited. Not really. Can I get rid of this tooltip, please? By looking at a different tooltip? Maybe? Yes! Thank you very much. So as you can see, I have 6 dust in my treasury, even though it says 5 dust over here. I wonder why it says so. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's something I'm simply too stupid to understand. Whatever the case, this is the situation of my empire. Still not having quite a lot of money, but I can already order some production on my new planet. So what am I going to do? I think that rather than... Let's see how long it would take for me to colonize another jungle. It would take 11 turns, but apparently I cannot do this. Missing requirements. What kind of requirements? What am I missing? Maybe I simply do not have enough. Yeah, I guess this is it. I only have a single population unit on my planet, so I cannot transfer it to another world to popularize it. Duh. So I'm going to... Yeah, let's go all in for science. We'll see how far it gets us. Center still, I have the nanobarrier colliders installed on my planet. Fair enough. It's not like I can do anything with this. I'm not going to purchase any ships just yet, simply because I don't need to colonize anything right now, because I already have so many colonization options. I don't need many small scouting ships. I could use them, but I'm not going to do so because I want to save my money. And defenders I don't think are necessary at this stage of the game. Okay, is this everything I need to do? This game lacks pointing out the other things in your empire. For example, maybe I'm missing something that could be done, but I don't know what it is, and the game is not going to point this for me. Maybe it will be in the final race. Hopefully it will. Now, there was somewhere... Oh, yes, there we go. The player status. Where am I? I'm over here. 47. Wow, I'm way ahead of over my other opponents. This is interesting. I'm sure I'm not playing that well, so I guess this is simply my civilization starting trait being so awesome at the start. Anything else I should worry about? Not really. I cannot hire anybody. So let's just go into another turn. I like the music. I guess this is a trait of every space game, that music has to be good. I mean, if you remember Hegemony, if you played it, Hegemony, I'm not sure how you're supposed to spell that. It had amazing music, and this is pretty much what got me into the music. Even though my parents were heavily into the music, I only got into it after listening to Hegemony, and after that, well, I'm a Sophons right now, so you can guess that I love music a lot. So I can show you what this thing is. This is, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's unstable link, I'm going to call it for now. Basically, I cannot use this route right now with my ship because it lacks the advancement, but in the future, if I possess some kind of awesome-ish kind of technology, I can use it. So this is something to bear in mind. Now let's look at this new discovered system. Wow, a lot of lava and a single baron. We're definitely not going to colonize anything in here. So let's move on to... You know what? I could explore those two systems, but I want to see what is in direct proximity of my main system, so I'm going to do just that. Didn't move much, but still that's something. And there's nothing else for me to do, is there? No, so I'm just going to end the turn. Alright, this took a while, and something happened. So, soil xenobiology has been researched. This is very nice. I can right away kill something new. Let's see. Particle scanning. What does it give me? It gives me